Hi, everybody. So today we are going to be talking about wellness for the summer. So before we really get into this, I want you to think about what your favorite parts of summer are. Is it the warm weather, beautiful flowers, getting to spend extra time with your friends, walking your dog in the park? I want you to take a moment and think about what you love most about summer. Because as we go forward and talk about wellness, it's important to remember that wellness and the things we do to enhance it are different for everybody. And keeping in mind what you love is important on your journey to wellness. So, what is wellness? This is a quote I love, but I think it really does a great job of explaining what wellness is. Wellness is not a medical fix, but a way of living, a lifestyle sensitive and responsive to all the dimensions of body, mind, and spirit. An approach to life we each design to achieve our highest potential for well-being now and forever. I think this quote really explains wellness in a great way. It's something that we do to improve our living experience and something we can start today and do forever and can change and adjust to whatever our wellness needs are. So before we really deep dive into wellness, I just want to go back a little bit and just talk about mental health in general. It's hard to consider wellness when we aren't considering the things that are affecting our mental health on the day-to-day basis. Just like our physical health, we all have mental health, and many things can affect it. And there are things that we can do to impact it as well. Some of the things that can affect our mental health include our day-to-day lives. Anything that happens, really, whether you get a bad grade on a test, you're having a fight with a friend or a family member, anything like that can affect our mental health on a day-to-day basis. As well as that, some larger things that we experience in life, like our brain chemistry, our family history and our family dynamics, our identity and the way it intersects with the world, really everything in our life can affect our mental health. So when we talk about mental health, we like to look at it as existing on a spectrum. This is our mental health spectrum right here. So you'll see we have these four main points, but remember, as is the spectrum, you can really be anywhere on any points of this. So our main points on our mental health spectrum start with health. So that's where you're doing good. We're sleeping well, we're doing well in our activities and the other requirements we have in our lives. We're doing good. We're happy, healthy, thriving. Then we have coping. Coping is where we're doing okay. We're getting up, we're going to work, we're going to school, we're doing what we have to do. And maybe we're content, but not happy. There are things that could be better, but there are things that could be worse. So after coping, we have struggling. At this point, we're not doing great. We're maybe missing school or work, not spending a lot of the time doing things that we love. Just overall, things aren't great. And then we have unhealthy. And unhealthy is kind of our furthest end of the spectrum. This is the point where you're not really able to function in your day-to-day life. And at that point where you need professional support and you need additional help getting back to a healthier feeling. We say all this to know that anyone could be at the healthy point of the spectrum today and struggling tomorrow. You could be unhealthy today, but coping tomorrow. We talk about the spectrum so that you know, A, you're not alone. We all ebb and flow on this mental health spectrum cycle. And B, being in touch with your mental health and knowing where you are on the spectrum can allow you to figure out when you need help, when it's time to start incorporating more self-care, to reach out to a friend for help, or when it's time to reach out to a professional. So I want you to take a moment to think about where you are on the spectrum right now. If you said to yourself, I'm at the healthiest point right now, that is amazing. And I want you to take note of some of the things in your life that you're doing that have helped you be in that position. And if you identified one of the other points on the spectrum, that's okay too. Take a minute and think about a time where you were maybe all the way at the healthy end of the spectrum. Think about what that looked like. What were you doing? Who did you surround yourself with? And what were some of the things that were making you feel that way? Consider if there's anything you note from that time that you can incorporate into your life. And at any point during this video, it is encouraged to pause, contemplate, and reflect on the things that you're thinking and feeling at this time. Okay. So what I would love for you to do now is take out a pen and paper or pull up the notes app on your phone or however you like to write things down for yourself. Because we're going to be talking about the domains of self-care. This is basically a fancy way of saying these are all the different areas of our lives that we can enhance with self-care. So I'm going to talk about each, and I'm going to give an example. But at the end of this, I want you to give yourself some time to think about each of these domains. What is something you can do for yourself in each of these domains of self-care that you enjoy? We like to say that not every self-care activity is for everyone, but there is a self-care activity for everyone. So our first domain is physical things. These are things that we can do to help our physical selves feel better. Things like running, eating healthy, or even just doing a morning stretch. Next, we have social. This could be something as simple as spending time with your friends or spending time with family. For our intellectual self-care, we can do something like reading a book or taking a class on a subject we're interested in. For emotional self-care, we can spend some time journaling or even just reflecting after a long day. For environmental self-care, we can do things like reorganizing your room or desk, or even just lighting some candles and dimming the lights to give yourself a peaceful space. And for spiritual, now this could be something that reflects your religious beliefs, whether that's attending a religious ceremony or praying. But if you aren't religious, you can still connect with your spirituality in other ways. Spending time in nature or meditating, anything you can do to find a way to connect with the world around you. Now, before we move on, I want you to pause and take a few minutes to write down some ideas for yourself for each domain. So now that we talk a little bit about self-care, I just want to talk briefly about checking in with yourself. And this is going to be a little guide on how to do a check-in on yourself. The first thing we're going to do is just take a moment. So when you're going to do this, you'll set a timer for 60 seconds. Find a comfortable position. Keep your focus on your breathing for the duration of the exercise. And you're just going to take this time to clear your mind and relax. As you sit and breathe, ask yourself, how do I feel emotionally? Is there something taking up a lot of my headspace right now? How do you feel about it? Dig deep and try to find the words to match the feelings. Now I want you to think about, how do you feel physically? Do you have any aches? Do you have any pains? Do you feel rested? When was the last time you ate a whole meal? Have you had enough water today? Make note of any of these things so you can address those after you finish taking a moment for yourself. Now that you've identified how you feel emotionally and physically, I want you to think about, what can I do today for myself? Identify one simple self-care practice that you can do for yourself today. Be sure to think about when you can do it and make a plan to make it happen. It could be something you've been meaning to do or something you want to do to address how you just realized you're feeling now. This is a great opportunity to refer back to those lists of those self-care activities that we just talked about and see, which of these things can I fit into my day to help myself? So now, of course, we are here to talk about wellness in the summer. But why is summer different? A lot of folks really look forward to summer. Beautiful weather, many people go on vacations, there's extra time to spend with friends and family. In addition, if you're in school, there's no pressure of school assignments to complete. And these are also all great aspects of summer. That being said, a lot of people, even those who are looking forward to the summer, can also struggle during these times. The difference between summer and the rest of the year for a lot of folks is a lack of order and consistency. When we're used to the schedule and order of school 9 months out of the year, when summer hits and we lose it, it can be difficult for our mental health. So what we encourage is that you mix the fun and excitement of summer with some structure and scheduling that's beneficial for your mental health and well-being. So what are some things we can do? First, we recommend is maintaining a healthy schedule. During the school year, we work on a schedule, sleep, school, after school activities, homework. You do all of those things. But what about during summer? Your schedule can definitely be more relaxed during the summer, and it's encouraged. You want to give yourself more time for sleep and fun, but if you find that your mental health seems to suffer during the summer months, it can be helpful to maintain a schedule that is set to make sure you have a balance of all the things you want to do. Another thing that we can do during the summer is to make sure that we're staying active. During the school year, there's a lot of physical activity built into your day. You have phys ed class. In school, you're moving around a lot, sports, and we might do other clubs and activities that get us up and moving. And if you do a summer sport, then you probably already have a lot of activity built in. But if you don't, you want to make sure you're building that into your day for yourself. The best part about summer, at least in my opinion, is that it's beautiful out. So you can do some activities that you can't do during other months. Things like hiking, biking, or just playing outside with your friends are all great ways to stay active and stay social during the summer. Like we said before, a healthy body equals a healthy mind. And that's something we want to make sure we're keeping in mind during the summer. I also want to encourage you to spend some good time during the summer outside. If you mostly are an indoor activity person, that is totally fine. But making sure you're getting some outside time is really beneficial to your mental health. Natural sunlight increases levels of vitamin D and serotonin, both which can boost your mood. So whether you'd like to go outside to do a sport, garden, or even just read in the sun, any time you can spend outside can be great for you. And finally, above all else, enjoy your summer. As you're ending the school year, take stock of the things you want to do and achieve this summer. Whether there's a specific summer activity that you wait all year for, or just some things that you want to try that you don't have time for during the school year. Decide what things you can do this summer that will make it great for you. Make sure you find a way to balance anything that you need to do and all the things you'd like to do to make this summer a great one. Finally, I just want to share with you some resources that you can utilize if you're ever in need. You can see the number for the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, the Crisis Text Line, the Second Floor Helpline, as well as information for the Trevor Project, the Trans Lifeline, 211, ASFP, NAMI, SAMHSA, as well as a resource for teens on Headspace. All of these great resources can be utilized by anyone to address any mental health concerns that you might be having. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you're able to find moments for wellness this summer.